Clippers. All right, here we go. Again, sorry, Steph. Can y'all hear it?
I can hear it,
Okay.
but it sounds like it's coming from your computer.
Really?
This some old UGK.
Yes, sir. We're going to Texas because I'm not really going to Texas
Is it?
anytime
Yeah, it
soon.
is. It's Bun B in
Some
them.
of us are in Texas, though.
Right now.
Hey, shout out Bun B. Responsible gun owners. Hold down the house.
He shot the
Castle
intruder.
Doctrine.
Shot the intruder, man. RP to Pimp C.
What's the irony of someone going to Texas right after they lifted the mask mandate and opened it up 100%?
You said
What's the odds?
I don't know. We know somebody.
I think people are going down there now. I think people are gonna. Texas had to do that because I'm not gonna get started. I'll wait till it starts.
Okay.
You'll wait till the song
You about to go into the analysis.
They had to do that, you know.
Oh man.
I ain't never go to Texas. Somebody today ironically asked me if I want to talk to somebody about a job in Texas. I emailed them back, but I'm thinking, hell no.
Everything
Not
bigger
right
in
now.
Texas, though, man. Ain't no state income tax.
But don't they tax everything else?
Yeah, I heard everything else is
It balances
crazy.
out, right? But welcome to the Council of
Yeah.
the Clutch, episode number 94. I'm your boy Cal. Today we joined by SP,
In the building. What it do?
Nicholas Sapp,
It's good.
and we got a returning guest, Steph Travers.
What's happening, y'all?
All right, so first topic here, as you heard us talking about it through the intro, kind of binding it all together, Texas. Texas and Mississippi is open up. I was about to say the borders, but they would not do that. They open up the. They getting rid of the mask mandate, and they're opening up everything 100% capacity. Yeah, it's crazy out here. I'm gonna let y'all talk. It's crazy.
I mean, it is really crazy, though, because that governor, I mean, I think this low-key could be one of those ploys to, get people distracted on what was really important, which is the electricity situation with the intentional outages and the fact that they got the competitive market out there for the utilities, so the prices was skyrocketing and everything's open.
Go outside.
Don't wear that mask. Get out there.
We
Do
need
something.
a new headline.
It's starting to warm up too.
Hey, just turn your house off. Just turn all the power off to your house and just go to the beach or just go to the bar for a couple hours. It'll balance out. It'll work out.
I forgot who told me this statistic, but it's like I want to say it was a real high percentage or a real short amount of time that people basically pay attention to a piece of news.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like 5 days. Something goes viral in 5 days. Pretty much news recycles.
That sounds like a long time.
News cycle. Yeah,
it might be shorter now too. That's to that point.
I always heard them talking about the 48-hour news cycle.
48 hours.
That's what I always heard them talking about on the news. Like, the 48-hour news cycle. Like something big happens and then kind of just fades away. But the big things that have been happening now have been pretty prominent. So you got to keep talking about it. Besides the Texas thing, because that was like a specific regional thing. It didn't affect most of the country, so it's kind of like, okay. But like this would have been like a whole area, like the whole Southeast or something like that, or the whole West Coast. They would have been talking about it way longer than what they were.
Oh yeah, facts.
I mean, I think
for a while.
we kind of expected this from Texas, though, right? Like it's not surprised that Texas is open. I don't think anybody's surprised that Texas is like, hey, we're going to open up, 100% no mask. They were itching not to get out of the situation. But it's just like I think it was strategic. First of all, Texas got hurt by that the snowstorm. They're financially in a bad spot. That's the first thing. Let's open back up. Let's get revenue to the place that needs to be revenue. Need the revenue to be there. But like, I think it's going to be smart, like for political wise, for hey, look, we're the first day that opened up. for that push of saying, hey, look, we opened up, no mask mandate, to support their people, right? The people that support the kind of, conservative Republican, agenda. They're going to say, Rubio and them boys down there cruising and say, hey, look, we opened up Texas. We're the first ones to open up, fully open up.
Until the numbers come out.
He said what?
Until the numbers come out.
Yeah, and the number. But I mean, I don't think they even care about the numbers. I think they get on the hill and they say, hey, look, the numbers, we're going to do this. But they don't care. I mean, right now the country's ready to open up. Joe Biden said that in end of May they're going to have enough to vaccine everybody, vaccine for everybody, right? And so I'm just like, once everyone hears that, starts getting warm outside, the psyche of America is just going to be like, you know what? Let's just open back up. Let's just wing it.
Herd vaccination.
Right.
I'm personally waiting for herd immunity, but we'll get to that later.
Okay.
It's tough because here's the thing, right? I don't get the flu shot, right? I've never gotten the flu shot, to my knowledge.
Never had flu either.
With the vaccine, I probably will have to get the vaccine, which I necessarily don't have. If I have to get it, I'll get it. I know how I don't really care, to get it or not get it. But the thing is, there are people who say, you know what, hey, I'm not getting that vaccine, but they're putting all kinds of stuff in their body.
Yeah,
all types of stuff.
Right, you're smoking hookah every night, but you don't want a vaccine. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you eating Oreo,
sharing it at that.
Right, you know what I'm saying? Right.
Speaking
so I mean,
hookah, I always thought when men smoke hookah, it looks very.
Soft.
I can't. Yeah, I can't say the word I want to say because we might get jumped off the air.
It looks like fellatio on the phallus.
Huh?
Just how they hold it, they just be like this. When men smoke hookah, they do this. Their hand is bent like this, and they're puffing and pulling. It looks very. Yeah. Anyway,
Dang.
Yeah, smoke. I mean, smoke. Yeah, I mean, it's just like you put all the stuff in your body, don't get the vaccine. I mean, if you're at that point in your life, just wing it, get the vaccine. What's the worst that can happen, right? If your body builds up immunity to stuff you put in your body, you might as well just wing it and get it. But yeah, going back to Texas, I think they had to open back up after what happened, and they just said guns blazing, let's open back up.
Yeah, mind you, I feel what you're saying. I'm sure they had to open up to distract from the terrible governing that's happening in Texas. They just said, you know what, we're gonna make it the wild, wild west for real. So if you want to do something, you can do it. Go to Texas. You know what I'm saying? At your own risk. This is your this is the freedom state, quote unquote. And then I heard people talking about grandparents not wanting to sacrifice the future of their children. I'm just like, wow, what are we saying here? People saying they or I just hear thoughts. I don't know exactly who's quoted by saying this, talking about people willing to die for the economy. They were saying that months and a year ago, and now that's resurfacing.
The governor
that idea is resurfacing again.
The governor said,
it's crazy, man.
Just this small amount of people. Hey,
people say anything.
Yeah,
but
even the governor, even that one mayor. I don't know if y'all heard. This man said that fend for yourself. You don't nobody owe you nothing.
Yeah.
What are they running down there in Texas? It really must be like you have no neighbors, you have your guns, no police, no fire department. You just live your life how you want to. Right. I am not going to Texas.
Hey, I'm gonna try to reach out to our field correspondent who's currently in Texas right now.
Field correspondent.
What podcast you know with a field correspondent?
Thanks.
Live down in the Lone Star State.
He's probably not going to pick up. He's probably on the golf course. No, it's dark. So if he texts us back, he's fired. Well, we were trying to get Roy Nixon there, who's in Texas braving the storm of coronavirus.
He's sure not living his best life.
He probably is. That's why he's answering. But I'm about to text him. But yeah, anything else about Texas? And Mississippi's also not out of this. Mississippi's basically wilding for respect too.
Yeah, I mean it's Mississippi and it's Texas. Like that's kind of all you need to know. I'm surprised. I won't be surprised if Alabama and Louisiana don't follow their suit soon. I mean, I'm not surprised that it happened. I do think it was a bit, just random. But he just, like you said, It's just the wild, wild west. Man for themselves.
Southwest.
I do have a question for you guys. So, I'm a East Coaster. I feel real strong in that, especially being out here in dirty South, slave country for so many years.
Memphis.
So, Memphis, man. But when it comes to like living in Texas or places that advertise themselves as like you can do what you want to do, no government oversight, quote unquote low taxes for what it's worth, especially if you have a higher income bracket. Does that attract y'all to like Texas or any place that advertises itself in that way?
Nope.
Because I know for me, I'm personally a city man. I want to be in DC. I want to be in a place that has public services. I want parks. I want neighbors. I want community. It don't seem like that's that in places like Texas. It seems like it's kind of the anti of that. So what do y'all think on that? Do y'all want that for a place to live,
Texas,
maybe long term or something?
Texas overall, I would say no. But I've been to Austin before. I like that. It's more of a modern city style, progressive. When I went there, I swear the only black people I saw were the black people that I was with. But overall, and the crazy thing about it, we was there the weekend of South by Southwest too.
Wow.
But I feel like Austin, just based off kind of how they're structured and everything, that will be a place in Texas. But I probably wouldn't be like I don't know, wherever Friday Night Lights was filmed. I don't think I would be like out in the country and things like that. I'm fine.
Perriman.
Yeah. I was about to say Perman. It'd be all wrong. But
I think you might be right. I think it was Perman.
Perman.
Right.
Yeah, I knew it's all with P. I ain't want to say it wrong though. But
so I went to Austin. I went to Austin 2 years ago for work, and it was probably as a place I want to go back. It's like, well, here's the thing, because I'm used to DC. Now I do feel like Austin is up and coming, more so Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston. You're getting more of a true city vibe. And when being in DC, going to Austin, you kind of get like that country feel in the city. So I do like that. There's beautiful architecture. But I'm like you. I want to, like, I live in the DC area. I grew up in the DC area my whole life around the Beltway. Lived in Alexandria, PG, Calvert County, Montgomery County, Fairfax County. I live in.
You was in Calvert County? I'm sorry. Wow.
Yeah.
Calvert County. Wow.
I live in. Currently right now I live in Ashburn, Virginia, which 70% of the world's internet comes through Ashburn. And it's a great place to live, and it's the wealthiest county in America.
But like the first Apple store, man.
Yeah, that's the first Apple stores out there.
Yeah.
No, but here's the thing: like when you live here, it's so easy to get self-consumed in a lifestyle where you only care about yourself, right?
Yeah.
They have everything they want. They live the way they want. They have everything, and it's so easy to just kind of think, "I'm going to take care of my family. I'm going to be okay." I'm privileged, and my father still has a barbershop out in PG County. He still does real estate out there. I work at College Park. My mother does work out there in DC and in PG County for black kids. So I feel like it's so easy to live outside of an area where you don't really see black people, and then forget that there's black people truly struggling. And for me, every day, I'm seeing what's happening in the city, where you'll see a senator walk by someone who's homeless on the street, and they don't bat an eye. There's no thought about it. Or, you drive, you see them build a casino in near a black area employed by black people, then build motels next to it. So I do like Dallas doesn't seem attractive to me, because I do feel like that unless I'm in like a larger city, I do feel like that I can lose the sense of my purpose as far as giving back to the black community and doing service to the black community. Not saying you can't do that in an area like that. So yes, the East Coast does see, New York, DC, even Chicago. I live there. Was it Old Block out there? Cheeky, bang bang. So I can't see you in Old Block. Living here,
I can't see you in Old Block, man. But no, for me, Steph definitely took this more of on a deeper level than.
Yeah, my bad, dog.
No, because I was just thinking about the city.
Yeah. I ain't gonna hold you. I missed the question.
Sap said, "Do you see yourself?" Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just asking, like, does a state like Texas, where they advertise low taxes, freedom, guns, and everything's bigger than everywhere else. Is that attractive to you as an actual place to live and uproot to, or at least have a place to come to or something?
No, I mean, Virginia has really good taxes. I mean, we have good taxes out here when it comes
Even where
to.
y'all at? Sheesh, I thought y'all was the
I ain't
highest
gonna hold
tax
you.
rate.
For me,
I mean, y'all was the highest tax
yes,
area.
but that's
But
just
but
that's because of the
but
lifestyle I like to live. Because I'd rather I like to live in that rural environment where you got about 2-3 acres to yourself doing your thing. You know what I'm saying? Then you can drive about 15 minutes, 20 minutes to get into the city.
yeah, that's kind of where I live now, right? So it's a hop and skip in the city. Um, I mean, it is nice because it's tough living in the city, and then like in this area, you see your taxes go to work. I don't have to worry about potholes on the road. I left the house, I hope nobody knows where I live, but I left the house for 4 hours today with the door open, and it was the same when I came back. I leave my
Damn.
car open all night. We don't have to worry about crime. The
You live in
schools
the
are
old
great.
school neighborhood. It sound like my dad growing up.
I mean, well,
Yeah.
it's we can I can literally walk to the grocery store. I can walk to a restaurant. I have privacy. It's you have this safe mindset where you can raise your family, take care of your family, but 30 minutes, let's say you're in DC. You know what I'm saying? 34 minutes, you're in DC. You can get that city vibes, kind of like you were saying. You know, you can get that. And I do like that. I couldn't live in this. I couldn't live in the city though because there's too many distractions.
Yeah, I don't think I could live in.
Hey,
big
Seth,
city.
you married?
I am. I got married. I got a 1.5-year-old and a daughter on the way.
Okay, congratulations, man.
Appreciate it. Appreciate
I
it.
was just gonna say your DMs might be full after this show. If not,
Man, look.
No,
Let me
no,
tell you.
no.
Listen, I'm moving away from Instagram. I spend like 2 hours creating like a legit video or a post, right?
yeah.
And I put it up. I get like 34 likes, right? And like I get high school kids.
Uh-huh.
Hey, what type of camera do you use? Like, so that all my DMs are pretty much filled like kids trying to, high school kids and college kids trying to work photography and
Trying to
videography.
get your quality in,
I got you.
man.
Right,
That's
yeah.
what's up.
Yes, and
I
knowing the wife,
Sterling,
she's not gonna have that. So
Sterling, I ain't take you for a countryman, dog.
Yeah,
What
me
you
either.
mean?
what?
You got
You
that
seen
Rick
where I've
Ross vibe
been?
down there, man.
I loved
Hey,
where I
Miami's
was
the
at,
country.
bro. That's the thing. I
Whether-
loved where I was at, but the issue was obviously instead of where I live in Raleigh now, you can move to a place like Gardner, which has a similar vibe to where I was at in Laurel Hill. But
Yeah.
biggest difference is I'm driving 20 minutes to get to downtown Raleigh, which is the capital of North Carolina. So, you know what I'm saying? You have that. As opposed to when I was living in Laurel Hill, I'm driving 45 minutes to get to my Best Buy, to my TJ Maxx. Little different vibe, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's why, that's kind of one of my things, I'm not sure if my girl is going to go along with those plans.
Probably not.
But eventually at some point
Probably not right now.
I would enjoy to have a property, in a more rural environment where I can, kind of live off the land. I love to grow. I kind of got a green thumb, so I had some green peppers. We had red tomatoes. My mom had corn, cabbage. So had a pig on the farm, chickens. She used to have her own fresh eggs. I mean, I like that type of stuff.
Oh, you talking about Williamsburg?
No,
Oh.
talking about when I was living in Lower Hill, when I was down in North Carolina.
okay.
See me, I need amenities, man. I need good internet. I need fast internet, man.
So
like,
hold on. Well, I'm gonna pause. We're gonna pause right there because Cal low key was shading me with that internet comment real quick. Nah, that's crazy.
I was legit talking about like for me, I could live most places. I don't do too much, right? I would prefer to be able to have my own area, my own backyard. I'd love to cut grass. I would love a big backyard, right?
Yeah.
But I could pull off something, let's say, I don't know, like a Surrey type area, but if they had FiOS. I just need the good amenities. I need fast internet. I need good TV. I don't want it to rain and everything goes out. Hold on, I have a phone call right now for our on-field correspondent. Hey, this is Calvin from Calvin in the Clutch. We're here with Sterling and Sap and Steph and Roy, our field correspondent. How is it in Texas right now, man?
Man, listen, dog. Houston open. Dallas is Dallasing right now. Dallas is definitely Dallasing right now.
All right, you sound a little inebriated, sir. You good?
I'm alright. I'm funky. You know what I'm saying? I'm where I need to be.
All right, man. You got your seatbelt on now. You don't got your mask on though. Yeah.
He ain't got
no mask
He
on.
gotta have his mask
The
on.
mandate. The mandate is over. It's done. That's dead.
SP, I just ate with my cousins in there. You know what I mean?
No, okay.
Oh, so he just had some Mexican for the folks that don't know the inside joke. Nah, I ain't want nothing, man. We were just trying to see how it was in Texas right now.
Oh, all right. Look, I even had to go outside just to make sure I was safe.
Oh, see, man.
Yeah.
People, as you see, people are already adapting to the no mask mandate. Our correspondent.
No, that don't fit your face, dog. That don't fit your face. All right, no, man, no.
You got a kid mask on.
Yeah, it looked like it. When he held it up in his hand, it looked like a toddler mask.
I folded it when I got in the car. We got the big joint. I ain't got no beard now, so the mask actually go on my chin.
Well, you don't need it anyway. You don't need so.
He brought that mask just in case somebody
somebody-
tried to be on one. Like, hold up, I didn't think we had to
my
wear it. Oh, I got you.
Oh, I ain't even hear what you said.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be in the show then. What you mean?
He's not having a good time right now.
Somebody gonna slow it.
Oh man, I guess I gotta listen back to what 21 minutes. All right, cool.
Y'all gonna be great, man. Make America great again.
Oh man,
Man.
Texas changed them.
Come on.
All right, man. Oh man,
As y'all saw from our field correspondent, we had boots on ground. People
Intake
are
house right now.
quickly adjusting.
Yes.
I know this is off topic, but did you guys hear about Skip Bayless?
Nah.
He got COVID.
ESPN, I guess a couple months ago, offered him to come back to reunite with ESPN.
Into the deal.
He declined, and he got back with. He's staying with Fox for a 4-year, $32 million contract. It's so they did the analysis. He'll be making $8 million a year. He'll be making more. There's only 7 running backs in the NFL that are making more than Skip. So it's crazy. It's crazy, to think that first Max Kellerman's going to be gone. I don't like Stephen A. Smith, but Max Kellerman he's got to be gone after that. But I'm sure you guys heard Shannon Sharp's podcast where when Skip came to Undisputed, Skip said he wanted Shannon Sharp.
Yeah.
So
And that's the same thing that
that's-
happens for Stephen A. Skip said he wanted Stephen A.
Yeah. So it's like, I that's interesting. But
I
yeah,
knew. Didn't I say that in one of the past episodes that Skip Bayless's contract was up?
I think you
coming
mentioned
up?
it. And we said he
because
wasn't going nowhere.
I saw that. We definitely don't know what episode.
We was like, he
it
ain't going
was.
nowhere. He ain't going nowhere.
But yeah, I figured he would resign.
ESPN Lacey walked like crazy too. So
Yeah. So I mean, it. I feel like if he went somewhere, Undisputed would have definitely been. Yeah, you can't. That chemistry, you can't really.
Can't duplicate it.
Yeah.
Not with nobody else.
You
I
can't-
can't see nobody else sitting.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't. In addition to the chemistry, I feel like what they wanted to create was a conversation between white men and black men.
Yeah, I was gonna say
That
there's
wasn't-
a white guy at Fox Sports that can fill that role
Nah,
because most
hell
of them
no.
are pretty like straight, whereas Skip is like he's always to the max on something. He hates it or loves it.
Yeah.
Whereas when you hear Cowherd, he's kind of more of a straight lace. Oh, I don't really like this. Oh, I don't really like that. But he's never said
He's like a classic. He's like a classical.
Yeah, he's a radio guy.
But
he
yeah,
goes with the trend, right? Well, for the most part, he goes what he thinks is correct. Skip Bayless, even though he's completely wrong on LeBron James, he will find an efficiency in something and then find data to back it up. He's a true journalist.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that later.
Yeah. So, and I hate to say this too. While we're just on this podcast, the All-Star teams have been picked as well too.
Yeah, I saw it. I'm actually watching the Wizards and Clippers play right now.
Okay,
I saw that
Russ?
was on.
Yeah. I want to get off topic though. So
Yeah, we can pull that back in at the
Oh,
end.
gonna touch on the NBA
Go ahead,
because
Sat. Boom, that's
apparently, I mean, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to the players, there was a push. I feel like this came out like a week or two ago where the players were essentially asked by the NBA to promote the vaccine to get in some commercials, you know, apparently assuming with the idea if that, oh, I guess if some NBA players say, hey, well, you should take the vaccine, then maybe some young, impressionable people or just any black person might look at them and be like, hey, well, if LeBron James is suggesting I take the vaccine, then maybe we should take the vaccine. Just try to sway people, I guess. So
Yeah.
what's y'all? But apparently, reports came out that many of the players didn't feel comfortable promoting the vaccine, which
Understood.
I actually, applaud that. But what's y'all take on
Man, this
the
shit
NBA
is
trying to recruit their players to push public service announcements? Apparently, they want them to do more than just dribble.
Now.
shit
Well,
is-
no, that was Fox News that didn't want them to do anything.
shit is
more than that.
ignorant, bro. Like, cause these motherfuckers pick and choose when they want them to be
Vocal about something.
not even that
Involved.
to pioneer essentially, know what I'm saying, or lead a movement, know what I'm saying, of people doing X, Y, Z. But when it's something of their own accord, or you know what I'm saying, something that they truly believe in, if it doesn't fit
Of their
agenda,
interests.
yeah,
Of their interests.
if it doesn't fit their agenda, oh, that's when it's a problem. Man, miss me with that shit. If I was a player, I'd be like, yeah, y'all can kiss my ass. I ain't promoting this shit.
This ain't in the CBA.
Are y'all paying me for that? Are y'all paying me to promote it?
This ain't in the CBA.
Maybe we can
Mind
talk
you-
after that. If not, kiss my ass. I ain't got time.
If I can say what you're inferring, essentially the NBA wants to promote people getting the vaccine so they can speed up the time of people safely coming into arenas, spending money, buying tickets,
$10 hot dogs.
busting seats, eating hot dogs, drinking $20 beers.
To circle back a little bit on the topic we were just talking about, that's one of the benefits of Texas opening back up, because they are one of the biggest states in terms of sporting events, sport venues,
I
entertainment.
forgot about that part.
See, if the Rockets would have came, I mean, if the Nets would have came to town next week, it would have been crazy. Because they
Yeah,
played
I mean,
yesterday. So
here's my take on it. 'Cause I think
Harden going Harden anyway.
you gotta look at Harden's gonna go to during All Star week. He's down there in Texas. So what my take on it is this. So do I feel the players should, the players have the right to promote it or not to promote it,
Right.
does, like Calvin said, does pushing the vaccine help them get back in the arena? Yes, it does help them get back in the arena safely, because when you think of it, if that revenue isn't brought in, some of these guys' contracts, they won't see these lucrative contracts like they're seeing. The money from the revenue the NBA brings in goes directly to their pay. So if they don't say, hey, let's push this so we can get some revenue and save some contracts, then that can directly affect their pay. I remember Justin Jefferson for the Vikings said, I gotta play. I can't sit out. I can't sit out this year. I gotta feed my family. I gotta play so I get that contract.
Yep.
And guys that are coming into the league, that's kind of their mentality. So I feel a player should be forced, or and I say asked, but asked to say, hey, push this narrative. Like, hey, push this. But if they want to, they can promote it. But you can't put, like you said, you can't tell a player. I think it's mainly from the conservative Republican side, where we want you to speak, but we don't want you to speak. Just like college football, everyone knows, the players don't benefit from college football being played. Universities do, the school does, as opposed to like NBA where they see money for it. So, I mean, it's a tough situation. I don't feel like they should force the players to promote, though. Like, it's, I don't think they are, but even the ask is like, oh, so we have to make this huge push for racial injustice, but then now you guys want to promote this on top of that as well. So,
yeah.
Or more so, you got to get permission to speak on a human rights issue. People getting shot in the streets, or just things that are wrong in society in that aspect. But now you're asking us to do something that ultimately has a tie to like a financial tie to it. So,
Yeah.
and part of the hesitation I can imagine, like as a scientist, like trying to promote a vaccine that's like everybody wants to know the details of this thing. Like it's crazy. Like when has anybody ever cared what the formulation of a vaccine for measles, mumps, rubella, all of the vaccines that you can't even name, but that you're shot up in our bodies right now to go to school. What I'm saying? Nobody asks what's in the flu vaccine or how efficacious it is. They just take it and say, "Yeah, I'm vaccinated." So now all of a sudden there's this. Oh, I want the 90% one. I don't want that 70. I don't want that 70% one. I want the 90.
That mid vaccine.
Hey, I ain't gonna hold you.
That vaccine mid.
I low key feel like Johnson & Johnson is the perfect storm for to be the answer with this vaccine. A family company.
Yeah.
Remember that, right? Family company.
I agree.
And but to that point, they have so many reputable products already that they've had.
You would think so.
Generations, anyway. I mean, these are all allegedly, and they're the biggest thing with their vaccine is that you only have to take it at one time too.
Yep.
Yeah,
you're 100% right. They said, I was just reading an article. They said Johnson & Johnson has been the preferred one, and it has shown the most effectiveness as far as versus hospitalizations, deaths. So Johnson has the name for it, but yeah, I mean, shoot,
They've been tested in South Africa and Mexico too, or South Africa and somewhere else. I don't know if it's Mexico, but
and mind you, when I'm saying these percentages, 90%, 70%, it's not that I actually know like what that actually particularly means as far as like the effectiveness or whatever. But that's the narrative that's out there.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, I don't want that one. Give me that one.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? So it's interesting situation, man. And I can understand that the guys don't want to promote something that they're not really confident and comfortable promote, because this is way outside of the bailiwick of an NBA basketball player. Like, how you gonna ask them to promote a vaccination and science?
If I can't explain something, I'm not gonna promote it. That's like when people be reading the commercials, like, "Hey, male enhancement, such and such and such and such, and such and such and such, and this formula and that." Boy, you don't know what half of that. I mean, you probably didn't take chemistry, but they got you reading all this shit.
Back to Dave Chappelle saying, I've gotten paid by Coke and Pepsi.
Right.
Yeah. So whichever one is paying me the most is the one that tastes better. And right now, I like a Pepsi.
I like Johnson & Johnson baby powder and vaccine. Coming to you to CVS and baby oil. Baby oil, you can use it for your baby, and you can use it for your baby. That's a commercial right there, right? But honestly, when it comes down to it, I get the NBA side of it because, of course, people are gullible to the sense of marketability. So, such and such likes this. Oh, mommy, Steph Curry said get the vaccine. Let's get the vaccine. Mm-hmm. Any right-minded parent would tell them no just because of Steph Curry. But that's besides the point.
Or mama, daddy. Steph Curry said if we get the vaccine, we can go back and go see him play again.
Exactly. He can share.
Yeah.
Or they should say discounted tickets if you show your vaccine card.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, they give you a 5% discount for the tickets prices that they hiked up already, so you're gonna be paying regular price.
That's terrible.
Or they're gonna add the taxes back in because
we laughing, but that's probably something that's really really being discussed. Yeah.
Yep. But
I mean, that's why I'm holding on to mine. Shit all ripped up.
But moving on to another form of player empowerment, even though she just retired. I affectionately call her Renee Montgomery, but everyone also knows her as Renee Montgomery. She was a former member of the Atlanta Dream, and if anybody knows anything about the WNBA and the Atlanta Dream, their owner was very right-winged Trumpish last year, doing the whole Black Lives Matter movement over the summer.
Kelly Loeffler.
Yeah.
Kelly Loeffler, yeah.
So everyone in WNBA and her players were wearing T-shirts saying "Vote for her opposition" in the polls and everything like that. And she finally sold the team. And Renee Montgomery is actually part of a 3-member ownership group to purchase the team. The reason why I mentioned this is kind of because SP was talking about, I think 2 weeks ago maybe, about why players don't get
Equity
in the teams, which is found out as part of CBA. You can't technically actively own. Even NBA players can't own WNBA teams.
That's smart. I mean, I would if I was an owner, I would want that in the CBA as well.
Like if you're an active player, you can't own anything, even if it's like across the league. So LeBron couldn't buy the Sparks if you wanted to, because he's an active player. Because they're like brothers and sister companies technically. But the reason why I mentioned that is basically kind of falls down to what you're talking about, empowerment. Do y'all see this as another trend? She's the first actually female minority owner in the WNBA. But we have Jordan, we have Bob Johnson as the majority owners. We got a lot of black minority owners. But do y'all see this as a trend of people getting into groups, purchasing teams that are up for sale? Because Diddy was trying to buy who was Diddy trying to buy?
Carolina Panthers.
Panthers. Yeah, Diddy was trying to buy the Panthers. Jay-Z had like 0.003% of the Nets before he started Right Nation Sports. But
I do see it becoming a trend as in terms of people trying to take that opportunity. As far as it being successful, that I think would be up in the air because a lot of these leagues, and you hear like former players like Shannon Sharp say it all the time. It's like a
good old boys club.
Yeah, it's like a fraternity essentially. They look out for each other. It's close knit. So not only are you gonna have to have the resources, i.e., money, and cachet, prestige, whatever else, to at least sit at the table to have the opportunity, you're also going to have to be accepted by this fraternity as
they
well.
Gotta vote you. They literally have to vote you in to be able to be an owner.
And so that's the reason I think that, like I said, success, that's going to be the interesting thing to see in terms of like people actually trying to pursue it. I think you definitely going to see that continue to grow.
Yeah, I mean, I do think in the next 5-10 years we will see more black minority players either stepping into owning a role, owning a team, or owning a team. I think it's good. It's kind of like taking the platform back, not back, but being a part of the platform that is orchestrated for you. Like Michael Jordan, he stepped up. Magic was moving up. But it's going to be tough. I think for women's basketball, it's important. There's a lot that can go into the branding of women's basketball from a player perspective, rather than just from a someone who has that business acumen as that as a driver. But I think it's good to see, especially for black women. When you think of CEOs or executives or C-level people in sports ownership, the last person you think of is a black woman.
Yep.
You can see a black athlete doing it because they're probably good doing it. They play well in the sport. You can see a white woman doing it because it got passed down and they want to stay in the family.
I was just going to say that any given Sunday.
Right, you know what I'm saying, and that's happening in LA right now, and then you can see, white man do it because they're the orchestrator. So
Seahawks too,
Seahawks, Seahawks. So, I mean, it's good to see, especially for black women. I think it's good to see that, and because they're not often looked at. I hate to say it, they're not often looked at as C-level executives. People who own a team. So
the crazy part about it, they are pretty much the foundation of all African American homes. If they're if they're in the home, but they can't run a business, which is crazy, right?
Right.
You don't think they can run a business, but they can run a household.
Yeah, my wife thinks she can run the household. She does a lackluster job at times.
Oh man.
Just cut that out.
All right, so no, I was gonna say, that's literally how they play. So, you want me to cut it out for real?
No, you're good, man.
I was saying because I know this is how they play. So
we go at it all the time. Yeah. We go at it all the time. So I want her to hear it. I want her to hear it.
Shout out to wifey. I'm not gonna drop no names because you ain't drop no names. So
hey, man.
she know what time it is. She knows she is.
Right.
Shout out Renee Montgomery, especially in this. You said Renee.
I fell in love with her last summer, man. I left my TV on one night, and I woke up like 3 o'clock to take a piss, and she was on TMZ Sports. Wow. It was like her first day. I was like, oh, okay. She had the little thought light, as Roy call it. You can tell it was beaming off her eyes. I was like, okay.
Oh, it was love at first sight.
Yeah.
Well, shout out to Renee, making news history in Women's History Month. Recognize
it dropped in February, so it's Black History too.
Month. Exactly, she's a Black woman. Black comes first. That's why it dropped in February, and it continues into March. Yep. Women's History March. That queen. I was curious when I looked. I was trying to find some just very cursory research of like, I wonder like if she needed a lot of bread to do that, because I know for some of these ownership deals, you need to have a certain amount of cash on hand. Yeah, like a certain amount of liquid funds or something like that. She was
on the forefront of like all of this stuff. Like she was on a part of the I was about to say rock the vote, more than the vote with LeBron and all that. So she was out there. So it probably could be, she probably didn't have to put too much financially into it. It's just her being a part of it is probably like a symbolic type thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like having the speed of CSL, because I think she did it with two other investors. And I think one was a lady, the man was like an investor, and then she did. But her being a part of it, it's kind of like
the fact that they let her in.
Right. Yeah, it's a breakthrough. So.
Yeah. But, so yeah, I'm just curious. As like y'all said earlier, of how people can break into these like close knit circles where they really like. I feel like a part of the deal with Diddy not buying in was that they didn't like he couldn't get like the vote. You know what I'm saying? Like either they wouldn't bring, like the Republicans, they wouldn't bring it to a vote, or they, even though he had the money and his group had the money, they didn't want to sell to him. You know what I'm saying?
I wouldn't want to sell Diddy either.
Nah, me neither. I saw what happened. I saw what happened to Sean and Biggie and Loon. I don't want him around my. I'm just saying, man. When you get hot around Diddy, things just happen. That's all I'm saying. Man. So going off the WNBA, we're going to talk about someone who promoted the WNBA before their untimely passing, Kobe Bryant. So Kyrie Irving, basically, in his wokeness now, has basically said the NBA has been built by black kings, and we should honor a black king, as in Kobe Bryant, and make him the new logo. This has been a topic for the last, I would say, at least 3 years, because Jerry West even came out and said it's kind of embarrassing that the NBA has him as a logo, but won't acknowledge that he's the logo. He doesn't even want to be part of it anymore, because technically, if they acknowledge it was him, they have to pay him. But a lot of people have been talking about the last couple of years about somebody needs to be changed. So what is y'all take about? Well, what's y'all take on Kyrie saying Kobe should be the new logo?
I think it's easy for him to say that, right? Like if he's, no one's going to say no, Kobe shouldn't be a logo, right? It's easy for him to.
I mean, a lot of people, like you be surprised. A lot of people don't really agree with that idea.
Yeah, I don't agree with the idea either.
He's near first in line for that.
Yeah, it's trendy. You know, he says it's trendy. You know, like and people are gonna say, yeah, you know, repost it, right? I mean, Kyrie, he's trying to make a name for himself in Brooklyn, aside from being, LeBron James's footstool, like he out there, yeah. I mean, he's really like he's trying to be that. Oh, I'm this pioneer of black, of black history in the NBA, and I whatever he's going through, whatever he thinks, if he thinks the world's flat or a circle or whatever. I mean,
the world's squirrel.
I mean, whatever Kyrie thinks it is. I mean, it's trendy, right? It's trendy, and people are gonna like it, right? I get what he's saying. Yes, the logo should be changed. Should it go to the best player? No, it should go to someone that something that or a player, or just an image that signifies the NBA. Which is what 70% black. But. I mean, it was trendy. That's my take.
Yeah. See, my thing is, my bad. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to ask you. I'm looking at a couple of other suggestions someone else made in terms of. Well, first I'll ask this: Do we all agree that the logo should be changed from Jerry West?
I think it's fine.
It's funny you say Jerry West's name, because by all accounts, the NBA will not acknowledge that
it's a silhouette of a player.
that it's Jerry West
left-handed.
It's just some random player, and Jerry West like I feel like I can't remember exactly, but like he doesn't really acknowledge it as him. But if it is him, he got to pay him, and nobody's going to pay him, so nobody's going to acknowledge that. So I mean, we can all in the culture of people who love and follow the NBA can say, "Oh yeah, it's Jerry West." We all know it's Jerry
We
West,
saw
but
the picture.
it's not it's not actually acknowledging him.
Yeah.
So I mean, can it change? Sure. Should it change? I don't know. I don't care.
I feel like the NBA logo is one of those staples. Like,
Yeah.
why change
Yeah.
it? Why mess up a good thing?
Yeah, someone was saying that it's probably one of the best logos. Maybe that or the
It's
MLB
clean.
logo.
Yeah, and the
It's
MLB
clean.
logo was actually a person too. I heard Rob Parker talking about it a couple days ago. I forgot who it was.
I feel like their logo is just the.
It's
I don't even think of their logo.
It's a person with a bat.
Person.
Yeah, it's a person.
With the bat.
With the person with the bat.
Yeah,
The reason why they picked that person is because he held the bat high and tight, and it fit into the dimensions on when they was trying to make. And you know, back in the day, you couldn't just freak everything on Photoshop. It was like literally, you know, an actual illustrator doing all those things.
It was a person.
So the person that is the MLB logo, is an actual person too. Okay. The only logo that's not really a person is like the NFL. Logo, is a shield, with stars on it. But I feel like if you're going to change it though, my thing is if you're going to change it, there are a lot of people ahead of Kobe Bryant. And I heard Michael Smith talk about this. He said this is the thing. This is more about Kobe dying and not necessarily about Kobe deserving it, right? Because
respectfully,
you would say Jordan because one, everybody knows the jump man if they're going to do something like that. Because one, the jump man, everyone knows it. Two, Jordan literally took the game international.
They can't use the Jumpman logo though. That's
Nike.
That's Nike.
They can't. But the thing is, like, you know,
thing.
If you do anything of Jordan, like if you're going to do it, it's going to be Jordan himself, right? If it's not the Jumpman, it's going to be Michael Jordan. Well, I think it should be Jordan because of the impact he had.
So a colored picture of Jordan?
No, I'm saying like you can do a silhouette of Jordan doing something.
Yeah.
But you make it known that it's Jordan if you can't do the jump man legally, right? You can do the jump when you're doing
show with the tongue.
Yeah, you can do the jump from the free throw line like this, like on the dunk.
That's kind of close to the jump man.
Yeah.
Hey, but the jump man sideways. This is straightforward.
Yeah, it's true.
Hey, if he sticks the tongue out, you got to pay the cues.
So to piggyback off of you, here's a couple more suggestions. Kareem Skyhook.
Yeah,
it's pretty. What I can't think of the word, but notable.
Yeah.
Notable. Basketball.
You
player.
know this.
His sky hook, yeah. Oscar Robertson's one-handed jumper. I don't know about that.
Me neither. Shout out to the Kings though.
Wilt Chamberlain,
sound like a
grabbing a rebound.
I don't know.
How would you know it's coming down or going up?
I mean, I feel like you could show the ball going up and somebody like, you know what I'm saying, going up to grab it.
You got an arrow saying this is ball. This
is the ball. I feel like if you're gonna do it, it has to be something like
you probably have to have two people and show the guy way higher than him type. You know, what I'm
that's
saying?
just too. You gotta think about marketing wise.
That is a lot.
Hey, I got it. We're gonna have the NBA logo is gonna be Allen Iverson crossing Jordan.
Come on.
Yeah, we can do that.
We can
turn it to the side. We can turn it to the side. There we go.
Yeah.
And it's a little button that you can hear Phil Jackson, Michael, right before the epic moment. But no, seriously though, you got to think about design wise now, right? It's cool to say this. It should be this person, that person. If you think about the NBA logo, it is sleek. It is what it is. And Steph does. You know, all these things with pictures and all that stuff. So it's sleek, it's notable. So you got to think of a person that does something signature like a skyhook, but also could you advertise that?
I feel like
because we've been used to the NBA logo for so long. A drastic change like that might be like, what is this?
Yeah, I mean it's not like the Redskins name, right? Yeah. It's not like that where it's like it's just a basketball player. Yeah. I don't think it should be changed, but if they do change it, it should be a neutral player that we kind of know, like not like people are like, well, Jordan, it should be LeBron, whatever. Like if like you said,
Isaiah Thomas.
Low key, it would almost have to be LeBron. Here's why I said it to piggyback kind of off your point in terms of marketing. We're starting to get to that realm where the people that actually remember specifically playing Michael Jordan are phasing out. So, say
Yeah.
for example, if
I'm
they would have
35 and
changed
up.
it 10
I'm
years
loyal.
ago,
I'm sorry.
or 10 years
it's now
later,
36 and up. That group.
right?
That group.
So if they would have changed it 10 years from now, you would almost have to use LeBron.
I
Yeah.
would say.
Yeah.
I would say I don't think a current player would be the logo because you're gonna have all the haters. Why LeBron get to do this? Because he skips the line. You gotta think about there's an unwritten rule in baseball. There's like a unwritten line of who succeeds and what. Because it's like if you just think about logically, like I get making LeBron the logo because that's what kids know, right? That's what our generation knows. But why not Jordan? Why not Hakeem or somebody else like that, right? Because they mean more to the NBA overall. Well, no, they don't because LeBron's
Not Hakeem,
but you know what I mean. It's kind of like you got to think about how the NBA thinks.
Put Patrick Ewing up there. It's like
it's like okay, like making Alonzo Mourning the logo is kind of like.
Yeah, Alonzo.
But I get it. Like, LeBron will be the star power of it, but I don't see that being voted on, especially because if that has to be voted on by like the owners and all that, I don't know how that process goes. But if it's a polarizing person, I don't think they'll do it.
But and also think about this: like the NBA logo is kind of perfect because think about it. And this kind of almost ties into one of our other topics, Shaq and Steph. But it's like the NBA logo is something that everybody can do.
Yeah.
Whether you're good at basketball, bad at basketball, never seen dribble,
left hand.
It's the universal. It's the universal thing about the first thing you do with a basketball is bounce it. You dribble it. So I mean, like if you just think on that basic level, like it's the perfect logo. So I feel like Kyrie is being like shallow woke. You know, he's saying it just to say it. Sounds good.
I would go back to what Steph said. He's being trendy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, he clout chasing. Yeah. He over there with Cardi B and doing anything for clout.
Hey, Sap, that was a perfect word. Speaking of clout chasing, we got a clout chasing son that had a mama had to step down. So Ann Herbert, who is a CEO for 25 years, well, she wasn't a CEO for 25 years. She worked for Nike for 25 years, and she's recently won a CEO of marketing. Had to step down because her ties to the resale market. Now, we can go on and on about this, but we're gonna keep it high level. Basically, her son had a business reselling shoes, which they told Nike about in 2018, which wasn't a problem. Now, the thing is,
said it was not a problem.
It was not a problem. They didn't say it was a.
That's crazy.
They didn't say it was a.
That's an important piece of the story.
What is it called? Interest?
Conflict.
They said it wasn't a conflict of interest because he sold all different types of shoes. Right. Initially, they reported 18. Now, so
he wasn't exclusively selling Nike shoes.
No, he was selling Yeezys and all that, and this is where it gets muddy. So, one of her cards had $128,000 charged to it, with bots. And if anybody knows about bots, that is the way to just cheat to get shoes and gaming systems and all that. And basically, $128,000 was charged, and that kind of threw up a red flag. So, people have been doing, you know what social media does, Twitter does. They've been pulling his post from years ago, and he accidentally, quote unquote, found the MagSafe, aka the Back to the Future shoes. Found 3 of them randomly in a warehouse back in 2000 and whenever they dropped again. And then it's like, okay, how did he just find 3 pair in the warehouse and his mom works at Nike? He was all like, well, you know, I got connections that, you know, it's not my mom, but, you know, if you live in Oregon, you know, it's an easy way to, if you live in Portland, it's an easy way to, you know, find out this insider information. But it's not from my mom, though. So
that's like a half bragging about it because I mean Beaverton is right there, so.
But he's always bragged about having to connect, but always said, "Hey, but it's not my mom, right?" So that's what everybody was posting, and then it's pictures of him with like a warehouse full of Nikes and everything like that. So after that big purchase, that's when the kind of red flag went up to Nike, but she stepped down, and then they started doing investigations. He was actually buying PlayStations. He made $20,000 in profit off PlayStations. And I'm like, yo, that's what hit me the most because I can't get a PlayStation to save my life. I don't care about the shoes anymore. I don't even try to do the sneakers app. I don't care anybody.
Man,
the hype shoes. I don't care. The PlayStation.
Whenever you see a shoe drop the sneakers out, all you see people is mad. People are mad on Twitter.
You're setting yourself up. Like, I don't even know why you try.
Right? Yeah.
You might as well just wait. Go to StockX or Hypebeast and pay double the price because that's what you're gonna end up doing anyway if you really want them. because
Yeah.
you got people taking bots, and the fact that he was the son of CEO really made a big dent in it, and people were like, oh, so that's why I couldn't get the royal toll. Oh, that's why I couldn't get this or that, because he buying bots and he had the insider information, and he also had like promo codes for discounts. Now, where's this information coming from? I don't know. But what's y'all take on that, man?
First off, this bullshit that they let the shit slide back in whatever time that they confronted them talking about it was not a conflict of interest. How is it not?
Oh, he also bought some Yeezys with her credit card too.
Nah.
And he bought them off too.
But I was talking to somebody else about this. There's a lot of things that's funny to me about this story, right? One, she resigned. Now, let's just say this. If she had not been an Ivory Queen, I don't believe she would have been given the ability to resign. I think she would have got her ass fired. But, I mean, that's speculation, you know. It's allegedly.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for your service,
opinion. It's an opinion.
Facts. 2, the son an idiot. Because if you're gonna be an asshole, essentially, how I see
like
it.
a rich spoiled kid is normally.
And yeah, true. But like, how ignorant can you be?
You got to be,
because some of them
table.
pictures I seen on IG, that's ridiculous, bro. Because you already like, how ignorant can you be though?
People know your connections, and you're just gonna take a picture in the warehouse of Nike boxes. But it ain't my mom though. I don't get it, man.
They ain't got a nerve to use her card to pay for the
Yeezys at that. Like, come on, keep it branded though. Keep it branded.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'm a huge Nike guy. Not just because of the sign, because the technology and the material, when it comes to performance, when it comes to them, Nike being the true brand that actually stayed loyal to making performance gear for athletes that truly was effective. So for me, I truly get Nike because of the effectiveness of the material, how it feels in my body. Like, I think they put a lot of passion in the quality of their clothes. One thing is unique is with Nike, if people do embroidery and stuff like that, and if you ask to get Nike like a base layer of a Nike shirt, you can't get it. You have to. Nike has their own maker for their base layer of their clothes. As opposed to other clothes, you can get like a base layer from Adidas or Under Armour and put an Under Armour sign on it, and it's the same gear. Nike has their own maker, so I really appreciate what they do when it comes to like their shoes, their clothes, the material. So when I saw this, yes, we know she got a pass, right? She got a pass, like you said, she got a pass because who she is. Even when they found out she got a pass as well too, she probably made it seem like my son's doing this, but it sucks because so many people, I'm not a shoe collector. If I get a pair of shoes, I give a pair of shoes away, because I want to keep my kind of my kit, my shoe kit efficient. But when that happens, they buy a bunch of shoes and people who really collect shoes, they really collect shoes and they resell it. The resale market's almost worse than the regular market.
Yep. And that's where the hammer came down.
And it's just it's crazy, like people people get shoes and then they just, hey, look, this is rare, and so he's doing this at a large scale. It's America.
Hey, Steph, I know this is America. Hey, Steph, I don't know if you know this or not. I just found out the other day. Nike has like regular undershirts now. With the Nike logo on the bottom right, just like polo shirts.
For real?
Yeah.
I think it's like 3-pack for like $35. I didn't buy it, but I saw it. I'm gonna buy it though. They came out with regular draws that me and Q used to joke about since middle school, high school. I always joke, Nike need to make some draws. They came out with some draws. They're pretty comfortable. They just need to put the slide in the front because I don't like having I feel like a little kid when I go to the bathroom with one of my. But Nike does have great quality stuff. But But off of Nike, we're gonna go ahead and go to Zion, and who's a brand Jordan guy. So technically, we're still on Nike. But Zion, he he's being very effective this year, contrary to a lot of people what they thought was gonna be. Zion, they thought he was gonna flame out or get hurt. But there was a question posed on one of the morning shows. I believe it might have been no, it was actually one of the afternoon shows. It was Speak for Yourself with Marcellus Wiley and Acho. And basically, they had a question saying, do you think Zion came from overrated to unappreciated? So I couldn't hear what they were saying because I was working at the time. But it's a good topic because Zion last year was like the poster child. He was like Mr. Everything. Like, he could do no wrong. Even if he was hurt, it was the coach's fault. He needs to lose weight or the organization needs to get him a chef. Like, he could do no wrong. He was the biggest hype player since, LeBron, right? And now he's actually producing pretty well. His team's not doing that well, but he's producing and no one's talking about him. So do y'all think that he went from overrated to unappreciated, or do y'all think he's kind of where he needs to be?
I would say, because I remember hearing a lot of this talk about Zion, that there was so much doubt and so much of the nerd talk about, his weight, he's the heaviest player in the league, and he's weird bodies. Like they were just dissecting him like he was like they was trying to sell him on the block. It was disgusting.
Hold on. Which block you tell? You trying to hold him out or slave him out? Because it's two different blocks.
Hey man,
you sell him out.
Either way, it's terrible. Either way, it's terrible. And so they just were talking about all this man's measurements. They might, it was horrible. That's what I'm saying. It's that bad. I ain't sugarcoating it. So they got all this stuff to talk about. Now everybody's an NBA executive. Everybody's a coach now. He needs to limit his minutes. We need to do this. He needs to lose weight. All of this. Yeah, because all this shit talk. He plays basketball. He's an expert at playing basketball. Everybody else, fat ass, lazy ass, can't play basketball. Seriously. They can't. But they want to talk about the professional basketball player as if they know what the fuck they're talking about. They don't know shit. What? So when he got out there and played well, oh my God, Zion is this and that. And then he's still playing well and like doing great on the court. Now everybody they're trying to find the next, topic that's sexy. Now beating up on Zion and
LaMelo Ball, he threw the ball. LaMelo Ball threw a cross-court pass. He's the most amazing player ever.
I wouldn't say that he wasn't overrated, but he's just being who he is.
They blow everything up about LaMelo.
Oh yeah,
he's just being who he is. He's just being a great basketball player and with a high ceiling. So,
well, the thing is, I didn't know that. Were y'all aware that the coaches picked the reserves for All-Star teams?
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that. So when I was looking at this, I'm like, Zion, but I mean, he has been having a good year. And the coaches, obviously, they see something. I wouldn't say he's underappreciated though. I would say he's about right where he needs to be. I feel like coming out of last year, due to like off of what Nick was saying, some of the propaganda and narrative that was being driven in terms of who he was and how he would do in his game and so forth, he's kind of shut their ass up this year. With his continued success. So last year, I could see how people were looking at him as kind of overrated because the injury, kind of hampered his season. Then COVID, it was a lot that hampered his season, low key. But
the hype was just there though too. So that was my biggest thing. I had the same take on LeBron when I was in like 7th grade. Like the hype is too much. Like let him live up to it first. Like Zion's hype.
America though.
His hype. I'm like, yo, ain't no way he gonna live up to it, man. For one, he's always hurt.
We see something great, we gonna run it up until we're tired of it. Then we're gonna burn it down.
Tear it down.
Hey, Q and Roy ain't here, but where Anthony Davis been, right? Hurt on the bench, like we've been saying. But anyway,
I do think that Zion is overhyped. I don't think he's lived up to expectation. And here's why.
The expectations was impossible.
They're impossible, right? You're right. But he came into the league, last year. Last year his season was depleted, but he came and he was highly effective. This year he's highly effective. When I think of the Pelicans, I don't think of Zion Wilson. I think of Brandon Ingram. I think of Lonzo Ball. I think of that nucleus of players. When you think of the Cavaliers, right? Because the way they were hyping them up, they were like, "Hey, LeBron James is the next best thing since sliced bread." The same thing with Zion. When you think of the Cavaliers, LeBron James' rookie season and his sophomore season, it was LeBron James. Yeah. Like he was taking NBA
Yeah.
by storm. He was, and Zion isn't. They did hype him up, but he's kind of blending in when you see him on the court. He kind of, he plays when he needs to play. Like he wants to play, but he's not like effective as LeBron is. And yes, he's not LeBron, but I do think he's playing very well. I think he's being consistent. I do think they hyped him up, but I think he's playing the way he's supposed to play, as opposed to like playing completely out of this league. I mean, Zion is going to develop his skills, and I say the next 2-3 years, we're going to say, you know what, hey, who's going to stop Zion? Because he's going to learn how to be a better passer, better be a rebounder. I think he's not even averaging like over 8 rebounds a game. He plays like at times most of the game he plays like a shooting guard or a small not like rather than a small forward or a power forward, but he's still young in the game. That's the thing. He's still young. He's
like 20.
I don't think he's 20. Is he 20 yet?
He can't even drink, dog. But to Steph's point, Steph, when it comes to the Pelicans, and like comparing the situation that LeBron was drafted into as compared to Zion, like LeBron was the team. Like Darius Miles
was on that team. To be the savior of Cleveland because he's the hometown kid.
Like Ilgauskas was their best player, presumably. So but Zion is in a team in a situation where he doesn't have to contribute as much. The load's not on his back. So he can just play and be on a good team like he is around a bunch of other talented people. But just to the idea of this one player being I guess undervalued or not talked about in the media as much is ridiculous with today's NBA because there's so many talented people. Like I heard on the Talking Heads say that, or I heard somebody mention that maybe LeBron said it's like Devin Booker with the Suns is the most disrespected NBA player. Yeah. And it's like, you can say that, but at the same time, there's so much talent across the league that you can probably touch on every single or every other team and find somebody of that caliber, of that skill, who's tearing up the league, who's playing well, that is not being spoken about because there's so much talent.
Yeah, I would
there's
say
so much.
My bias take would be my bias take would be De'Aaron Fox is not talked about enough. But
my God, Swipe with the Fox, man!
But
Come on,
I'm a Kings fan, but also no one talks about it because we're never on TV.
I'll take this. May be crazy. I'll take Swipe over Devin Booker because Devin Booker was having he's having amazing games the previous year and last year, but that team then wasn't even talking about even the contention until Chris Paul came there. Swipe with the Fox had him, Buddy Yield, Ollie Stein, like he's doing like he's that all around player, that point guard that leads a team, can be explosive. Like, but I think LeBron
all 3 levels.
Yeah, LeBron. I like LeBron James, but he's trendy too. Devin Booker, he wants them to sign with Clutch Sports in the next couple of years, just like he picked,
allegedly, right?
Just like he picked Giannis in the first round so he can sign with Clutch Sports. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. LeBron James says these things, and LeBron James calls everyone the GOAT, and it's just like he just says these things, just to Alex Crusoe's the GOAT of what? Of what?
He saw all the memes.
Texas A&M.
But
best player.
LeBron is definitely trendy. I'd have to double up on that one.
Well, speaking of trendy, Shaquille O'Neal was being trendy with this statement, in my opinion. He said,
Shaq.
He said,
logical.
He said Steph Curry was the most influential player in the last 30 years. Now,
my gosh.
When I heard this, I took my calculator out. Yes, I took my calculator out and not my calendar. And I looked back 30 years. And I said, 30 years? Wait, hold on. I'm 31. That's 1990. That's 1991. Hold on. And I thought about it. I said, who was playing in that? Michael Jordan. Then I said, oh, wait, hold on. Who? Allen Iverson. Oh, shoot.
Right.
Shaq. Oh. Whoa, hold on. So I'm just thinking about this. And I try to wrap my mind around it. Okay, when he says influential, what is he going with? Is he going with how the game is played? Even with that, I can't give you that. I can say he changed the game, but if you think about basketball in the 90s, it wasn't hyper athletic until who came? Michael Jordan came in the 80s, changed his body. Then it was hyper athletic guards now at that point, right? So you got that. Then you got LeBron James, who is a legit point forward. Magic Johnson was a size, but he played point guard, right? He was listed as a point guard. LeBron James, you got Allen Iverson. When you talk about, if you talk about impact, the social impact on the NBA, he was himself. They had to put a dress code in the league, and they also had to put a zone in the league to try to stop him. Shout out to Jadakiss.
Yeah.
But that was impactful as far as on and off the court. Jordan was impactful overall for the game. He changed the game and how it was played. Shaq, impactful for the big man. He's an athletic big man. He was really big, really athletic, right?
Ron Artest. He ran up in the stands and let them fans know what the deal is. And he changed his name to Meta World
Really
Peace.
impactful with the right hand. So, but the thing is, for me, my whole take is, I'm like, your only point would be because everybody's shooting threes now. But I wouldn't say that he's the most influential in 30 because you just cut yourself out. Jordan, Iverson, LeBron. I can never give Kobe any credit. I'm sorry. Because he's the copy of Jordan. Just like SP said on like episode 2. I can't give the carbon copy the credit. Right? So I can't give him credit for being impactful. Now, he was impactful internationally because Asia loves Kobe. But again, that's part of the Jordan thing, right?
He's a carbon copy of.
Speaking of international, Yao Ming, did crazy international spirit to China, but that's not impactful to us.
Yeah, but it's impactful to the NBA in their
internationally,
pockets.
right?
Yeah.
But, I mean, I look back. I got in an argument. Believe it or not, I was in an argument with Facebook with somebody today, actually my brother, about what Shaq and Candace Parker were exchanging back and forth the other night. And I look back. Steph Curry came into the league in 2009.
He was hurt half the time.
in 2009, and the next two years he played, the 3-point attempts. And I'm not an analytical guy. I am an analytical guy, but this is just kind of showing the trend of how his impact went from 18 attempts per team per game. So I looked at how many attempts, 3-point attempts a team would shoot per game, right?
In 2009 or 2000 or afterwards.
So I went 2000 since Steph Curry's been in the league. It was 18, 18, 18, 18. The first 3 years that he played, then 20. It slowly went up, right? So there wasn't a huge drastic change that Steph Curry had. The biggest drastic change is when Jordan left. When Jordan left, the following year in 1995, it went from 10 3-point attempts a game to 15 3-point attempts a game, and it's slowly gone up. It's slowly gone up since then. So people think Steph Curry's shooting all these threes and this changes that dynamic. The trend, it's already been trending since 1995 that teams are shooting more 3-pointers. And I looked at the 3-point percentages, right, of how efficient, right? We talk about anybody can shoot 3-pointers, but how efficient are they, right? So I went back to 90 to 2000. Oh, actually back to 95, right?
Yeah.
The 3-point percentage was 0.367. This year it's 0.368. Last year was 0.35. So teams aren't shooting at an excessively higher percentage. It's roughly the same percentage over the years, and it's been trending since Jordan left the league. I don't think Steph Curry's influential. I think he's the light-skinned brother that we see acceptable, that attributed to both sides and benefited from great players, solid players around him, and allowed him to work. He's a carbon copy of Reggie Miller. He's a shooting guard.
No,
he's not
Reggie Miller can play defense though.
Yeah, Reggie Miller can play. Yeah, teams realize let me switch off Klay Thompson and get Steph Curry on him. So he benefited from being on that Warriors team because he was acceptable to society, and that's why I look at Steph Curry. They're like players that are more influential than him. And Shaq is. I don't know what
Shaq was trying to get promotion for AEW last night. He was trying to get.
I kind of low key agree with him, but see, here's why. It's back to that "This is America" thing, right? So if something becomes that thing in America, the person who led in that certain thing
is going to be the face of it.
Correct. So I think a lot of that with this is what you have. To your point, 3-pointer or 3-point attempts has been trending upward anyway. However, the popularity of it has increased in terms of, like, I don't know if you want to say it's allure or like people paying it more attention, but and in that same around that same time frame, Steph Curry again was the poster boy for it. So I can see why Shaq would throw out that claim. I don't. Again, to your point earlier, influential. That's kind of, you have to be really definitive when you're saying that, because that could go many different ways. That can be perceived in many different ways.
Impactful might be the word, but I wouldn't even say impactful because it's. I think this. If I wanted to play devil's advocate on Shaq's side, I would say he could be influential in pulling up from 30 in the efficiency in that. But Dame actually shoots better from that distance than Steph does, which is crazy.
Again, poster boy.
Yeah.
And on to that point, you have more guys like Dame and Steph who look more like me, so to speak, in terms of, height, that it kind of breaks down that mode of having to be tall to play basketball, etc.
You could be Steph, but you can't be LeBron.
Facts.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I think the average man looks more like Steph than LeBron, has more of the capabilities of a Steph than LeBron. So that adds to that as well.
Who's more marketable? I say I always say this. 60 to 70% of America is white, right? Based off of numbers, Steph Curry's more marketable to both black and white people. He's more marketable.
He's more marketable to kids too.
You said what?
He's more marketable
to kids
too.
It's true.
He's about marketable kids. He doesn't. He's not dark skinned. Doesn't have tattoos.
He has like a little weird little
looks like he's
face
tiny.
Right. So he's more marketable. So it's like, so like I said, I think for Shaq, it since it was happening, it was slow motion happening in his era. He gets to see, okay, I'm the guy that's who likes half court offense, who likes small ball, and he sees it trending away from him. So he's like, oh, Steph Curry, hey, Shaq. For Steph Curry, I don't know where it comes from, but I don't know why he said that. It was just off the wall.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe because Steph is the complete opposite of Shaq,
right?
Like as far as basketball and just kind of like looking at their physical stature and stuff.
Yeah,
but it's interesting. I'm thinking about it because it's like two fronts. There's like as our arguments for him being influential the most, because it's like the family, it's like the personal side. Look at him, he's a family man. His little girl, like it's not just him, but it's like even if we forgot about it, we can still remember there's a little, his daughter is adorable and she be out there when they be winning. His wife is out here. She looks cute to some people and she out here just doing all types of stuff.
I say the same thing. I say, I tell my wife, I say, I told a lot of people this person may be attractive, right? It's not, you're right. Go ahead. That's my bad.
So yeah, I mean,
not to me because I love you, but
and then also thinking about the basketball side, like if he because I didn't hear the argument, but if he was talking about shit like Steph reinventing the game, like the 3-point phenomenon started with the Suns, and I looked at that year 09. 08, 09, 09, 010, like they were lighting it up. Like that was a team that was running gun. Everybody shot threes off. He came into the league with that, and then slowly he just kind of their coaches followed that trend, and he just was very talented at doing it. And you had probably the two best shooters in the league on the same team, unbeknownst to anybody else, and they just lit it up because nobody expected it, and it was just a weapon that nobody used in that way. So I mean. It has a level of influence, but nowhere near the most.
Yeah.
Nowhere near the most.
One quick thing before we change topics, Sap. It's funny when you said his daughter at the interviews and games. It's funny when it was when she used to do all that stuff. I'm like, so Chuck didn't have his kids at the press conferences first. Like Iverson wasn't the first person to do this. Okay,
yeah, right.
So Iverson was not the first person to just have his kids on the podium, and okay,
the league hated Iverson.
That's the thing. Like he gets credit for a lot of things that other people did. And you was talking about the family. Like I listened to the I Couple a lot with Rob Parker and Chris Bouchard, And they were
I can't listen to them, man. They be yelling too much.
Yeah.
It'd be Rob. He starts it. Then Chris is
I
like,
can see both of them.
And he mimics him. He tries to match that energy.
yeah, he'd be like, what are you talking about? He'd be like,
you know what I'm talking about.
Listen to me,
Just
like, but no. So
this is like an Amy sitcom.
it was a topic. It was a topic that said no. It wasn't a topic. It was they were discussing. It was a poll that came out from some British people, and it was basically saying Steph Curry is the most polarizing player in the NBA, and it was based off tweets at NBA players. So basically, number one was Steph, and this is basically most positive reviews, most not reviews, but positive tweets and negative tweets. Steph was number one.
Yeah.
LeBron was like number 2 and 3. I forgot who number 3 was, but it shocked me. I was like, what, for real? But I can see Steph and LeBron being like 1 and 2 polarizing wise, right? Because you got people that either hate him or love him, and they were saying like. They didn't want to drop names because of course they didn't want to put anybody's information out. But they were saying like, yeah, it was a report out in San Francisco that Steph hit him up and said, hey, people think I'm this perfect guy and I come from these perfect things and I just want to have I just want to do an article about how I'm not perfect. I'm just a regular guy like everybody else. And Steph had the interview. The guy wrote it and was like, yeah, I don't think you want to put this out because if you think this is bad.
I mean,
it's like they advertise you as the perfect person, but if you think this is bad, this is not bad at all. So it's kind of like he wants to try to be a regular person, but the media already hyped him up as being him and his family being the most perfect family ever.
Yeah, he has to accept who he is. His father played in the NBA.
Yeah.
He had access to a lot of things that people didn't have access for. And that's just him. I mean, you look at Steph Curry, right, and you see him. I mean, he is 6'2". You know what I'm saying? So. We see him versus the other guy. He is tall, and lanky. But you look at Steph Curry and you think, you know what? He's okay. He's not a threat. You know what I'm saying? Like the NBA players don't see Steph Curry as a threat. You hate on people that you find as a threat. People don't look at Steph Curry and really look at him as a threat. So when you see LeBron James, guy 6'9", 250, 260, he got bopped to his step. Like you're like, oh, okay, he's easy to hate on because he's a lot of what people want to be. You know what I'm saying? Steph Curry,
he had to fight to be tough.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Steph Curry, when he looks tough, he's not even tough.
Man,
he even tries
go somewhere, man. Like with LeBron, that picture with LeBron when he blocked his shot. I was like, man, sit your.
Yeah, right. LeBron, he's like,
yeah.
I'm from Cleveland. You know what I'm saying? I'm from Cleveland. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just some people is just who they are. Yeah. They like he has to accept that. Like, and stop trying to be this. But that's why I think the NBA players say nicer things about him because, he's not. If you have someone around your girl, you know what I'm saying, and they walked in and it's Steph Curry and LeBron James, you're like, all right, hey, hey, you can talk to Steph, hey, I'm LeBron. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I'm saying it's if we can't control, it's the dynamic of Steph Curry. Hey, look, I think Steph Curry is an exceptional ball player. I like the guy. It's just the dynamic of how we look at him from nature. You know what I'm saying? So
from nature. But last topic here, we can
it's the narrative.
Yeah, pretty much. They make you who you want.
Right.
So we got the dunk of the year, some would say. Last week, Anthony Edwards yammed on somebody from Toronto. Put him in the
yammed. And he yammed on the Japanese basketball player.
Yeah. I couldn't think of his name. That's why I just said the guy from the Raptors. But he yammed on him, right? And it kind of goes back to what we were talking about analytics. He yammed on him, and people were like, oh, dunk of the year, this, that, this. You had everybody hype about it. Then you had another sect of people saying, well, he was 1 for 7 at this point in the game, and they still lost the game. And they're like, whoa, why are you mentioning this? And the reason why the topic was posed because Bleacher Report, one of their people, he literally was just like, yo, nerds are killing basketball. That was like the IGTV thing. He started off by saying nerds are killing basketball. And then he went to a whole minute and 30-second video about how analytics is hurting, basketball. Like, let basketball players just play basketball, right? So the question for y'all is, do y'all think analytics, as far as like, oh, well, this person shoots 35% from the three-point on the left-hand side, so you got to make sure you push them to the right. Is that type of thing killing basketball, or do you have a problem with analytics in the game?
Like we said earlier, the same people who can't play basketball, weren't good at basketball, probably not good at no real sports on some real, and I'm being facetious here, but they the ones that are going to come up with some crazy odd stat, PER, this and that, whatever acronym. to say that, oh, well, I don't like LeBron for this reason, or I don't like James Harden for this reason, or I don't like Russell Westbrook for this reason because he's not efficient. He's not this. He's not that based on these stats and this parameter and metric that I came up with or so and so came up with. And they're trying to like redefine everything instead of by looking at people and be like, yo, that person's great. They want to use numbers to discredit people. And that's often what I see. They use it to discredit certain people while they use it to uplift others. And I don't appreciate that.
I think.
Yeah, I mean,
oh, go ahead, Steph.
no, you got.
I was gonna say I think that's a byproduct because at the end of the day, this kind of how I look at it. So I mean, sports even more now so than ever before is big business, right? And with all big businesses, you're constantly trying to improve your bottom line. Obviously, success improves your bottom line in sports, right? So analytics, especially nowadays, and you can look at any industry, is used more to do that. So I think it has its place. Do I think that it's overused in many circumstances? Absolutely. But I definitely see why it has its place in sports, why it's become more prominent, why it's become more used and more relied upon more so than, natural logic or, thought.
Or the eye test.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good one. The eye test.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I'm in analytics. I've been in analytics for the past, 4 years, and I a lot of what I teach on and coach on and help with the curriculum at University of Maryland Master's Program is analytics. How to find analytics, how to and all of us play sports at a high level, and there's some things you can't just describe with analytics. And you can't the feel of a game. There's sometimes a team wins and people think, oh, because it's just you can feel it. We can watch a game and know if a team's going to win or lose, whatever sport it is, just by watching it. But like you said, it's true. It's an industry, fantasy, gambling. All it's analytics all provide people this sense of knowledge, of false knowledge, right? Not saying analytics aren't true. Like I look at analytics, I see it, and I watch, and I say, okay. Like for example, Donovan Mitchell. I've been watching Donovan Mitchell all year, and I'm like, he just doesn't have it. Like he just doesn't have it. And
sounds like
I said,
Shaq,
you know
man.
what? Right? And I said, I said, man, let me look at his numbers, right? And I was like, man, he's out of the top 25 scorers and 30 scorers in NBA. He has one of the worst, if not I think it was one person, he had the worst field goal percentage. I was like, oh, I can see that. I can see he's missing shots, right? I can see he's not playing at a high. He doesn't have that huge impact because he's inefficient. But I can see it. I saw that. So I use analytics to back up what I felt. The worst thing is when you use sometimes analytics to determine something that may or may not be true. Oh, based off of analytics, this team should win. Based off of analytics, this person should do this. And sometimes I think sometimes it works. I think most of the times it doesn't necessarily work. But player tendencies, you can see that, you can feel that. And these guys like I hate Pro Football Focus.
That's Skip Bayless' favorite thing.
Tom Daniel Jones,
PER. I mean QBR.
Daniel Jones ran the fastest last year in for the Giants quarterback last year in NFL. Daniel Jones, right? On that play, he tripped or whatever. That he was like top 5 or like top 2 or something like that. I'm like, what? Are you serious? Are you really looking at Daniel Jones as one of the top fastest players in the NFL, and they're misleading? So, I do think at some point, analytics are ruining it. And just like you said, you have to take it with a grain of salt. Like you have to look at it. Okay, I understand this. Okay, I understand this, but what do I feel? What am I saying? So it's tough, man. I mean, I work with a bunch of educators who rely heavily on analytics. If it's this data, that's what it is, and that's what they're basing it off of, and that's what they're saying. This is what the number says. And I'm like, Yeah, we're missing a lot of information in there that we can't calculate. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because one I kind of finished work early one day and just decided I had a good day of writing. So I was like, you know what? I'm about to buy lunch from a restaurant I like and I'm gonna watch a movie. And I picked the Brexit movie. It's on HBO. I don't know if y'all have seen it. I mean, I know y'all know about Brexit, but
I was
there's a
about to say
movie
like the financial.
that dramatizes. Say it again.
You talking about like the Brexit that's going on in UK?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So it's like a dramatization of how Brexit happened because we all know what happened, but it's like trying to go back to like 2015 to a meeting in a secret public place where they talk and they say, "Oh, we need somebody to lead this movement. We have momentum and this and that." And essentially, what it details is that there's a guy, I forget, I think it's Dominic Cummings, and he says that, all right, if I'm gonna run this, if I'm gonna lead this, if I'm gonna be the campaign manager for this Brexit, then I need to have full autonomous control. And essentially, what he uses to win is he partners with one of the data guys, the analytics guy, like the Cambridge Analytica people that gets your information, sees what your decisions are, gives that data back so you can give them specific information. So essentially they apparently use that type of technology, that big data, the analytics, the AI to specifically micro target people. And now Brexit has happened and all the things. But it's like it worked in that situation, and it's frustrating to see people try to bring the same type of manipulative data into sports where you can't manipulate what happens on a football field or what's happening on the basketball court or or how somebody's going to run like sports is, and that's the great part about sports. The human part is that you can't use numbers to manipulate it. It just is, and sometimes the underdog is going to win for a variety of reasons that that analytics and numbers is not going to be able to predict.
Yeah.
So that's the messed up part about just all these numbers, and they use it kind of without context.
Yeah, I think
So
the biggest thing with sports, it should be. I get the purpose of analytics in sports. It helps a lot, and then you have that culture of analytical people. But I feel like that should not determine if a player gets cut or if a player gets picked up just based off analytics. I think it should really be about the eye test and chemistry. Two things you can't really measure.
Well, I think I definitely lean to what Seth was saying. It should be more of you. It should be more of using those other factors than the analytics are backing up the decision that's already pretty much been made.
Show your work.
Yeah,
Prove your argument.
for sure.
Prove your argument, basically.
yeah,
Because we see it every week on Undisputed. If you watch Undisputed, Skip Bayless finds some random stat from some random nugget of the internet just to prove that Brady's great or LeBron's terrible.
that's why they looked at Stephen A. and Skip as people look at Stephen A. and Skip as idiots, because you got two guys that didn't play sports talking about sports.
Hey man,
Stephen
A. played at Winston-Salem, man.
Yeah, State, man.
What did he play? He played it. How many years did he play?
I think he played one, but he messed his knee up.
Okay, respect.
He's a D1 athlete. Well, Division 2 back then.
He got
Division 2.
He got the old uncle from the.
I don't like Stephen A. because
It's on paper though.
I don't like Stephen A. because he was during the whole social racial injustice movement. He was silent.
Yeah.
He was silent, and he catered. He didn't create any ruffles or speak out. Max Kellerman's voice was louder than his, and he was very political on a lot of topics. And it frustrates me. I stopped watching. I don't watch First Take anymore.
I haven't watched First Take in years.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah,
I stopped watching too.
he was so silent, and him saying, "Oh, I talked to this or that player," I feel like he was lying sometimes. Like he saved himself and his image during that time period, and it really frustrated me because I was like, man, Stephen A. HBCU. I didn't know he played basketball with him. Said HBCU. A face in sports, a black face in sports journalism, and he was basically silent. Shan Sharp.
I think I might be wrong, but wasn't he either working on his contract during that time, or did he just sign? Did he not sign?
I think
he
he
had
just
the
signed.
biggest contract.
I think he just signed.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to say he signed at the beginning of like 2020 or something.
Because I remember
end
him
of
signing it, but I don't remember if it was before or after the summer.
It was.
Or doing it.
I'm pretty sure it was before.
Okay, because I was thinking like if he didn't sign before, he knew that was coming and was trying to play it safe, like you're saying. But my biggest thing too, kind of like when you're saying Max Kellerman, his voice is a little bit louder. And this is just me. Don't take this as anything. I get when our white counterparts try to speak on our behalf, but I don't like it. You don't deal with it, so don't speak for me. Like, so a lot of things Max was saying, Stephen A. always came back with, look, you don't have to deal with this. And I felt him on that. But yet Stephen A. never came back with a hard statement of, okay, well, this is what we need to do. He always say, well, you know, all the brothers and sisters, they know I got their back, this, that. He always kind of said like, oh, I do things behind the scene. I don't need to be vocal about it.
You know what?
Yeah.
To your point, I agree with you, but it just made me think about Skip for a second because for some reason with Skip it's different for me, and I think that's because he's extremely old.
Yeah.
So I look at it like, okay, he grew up in this era where like, even if he had this mindset, you know, it would be bad, but. You know, people would be more understanding because, you know, he grew up in that era. But the fact that he doesn't have that mindset and he grew up in that era, it's like, oh, dang, this how you feel? Damn, that's what's up. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
A black lady raised him.
Huh?
He said a black
lady
lady
he
raised him.
did.
So
it's
like, hey.
So,
I mean, Skip. I like Skip. Skip. He, you know, even though Shannon may say his piece, Skip will listen, and then he'll give his honest take about it. And I do feel like you're right. Max Kellerman said it. It was kind of like
it's like it's like I get it. You're from New York. You used to rap. You grew up with us. I get that, right? I get that. But my thing is, it's like I feel like nowadays, like our white counterparts love to try to speak on things that don't affect them. I get it. You have a voice, but me having to deal with these things are like, yo, just I appreciate it, but I don't need that. And that's just me. Some people like it.
Unless a white person is, we have to use these white and black terms because that's just it's easy. That's how we raise the talk. But it's like if a white person, unless they're saying that another white person is fucked up for doing what they're doing, then it's empty. Because like you said, they're not really they have no real. It's no.
You telling me
they had they ain't got no horse in this race.
Yeah,
like it don't really affect you directly. You're just trying to put yourself, but just look at the other person who you probably have a more similar experience to. Like, that's fucked up. Yeah, condemn that. Don't not try to uplift others.
I'm okay with it, and if you're honest, you're genuine about it, you're continuing to try to understand it, and I think a lot of white people do get it. But also, if you're going to do that, bring the black people to that platform. If you have that platform and say, hey, look, here's so I spoke to so and so. Let him tell it to you first, because you can hear from me. But let me tell you somebody who's through it, like going through it. Bring the black people up to that platform, allow them to speak. And so they can hear. Rather than you, I spoke to. I don't like. It's great. I appreciate that. I think I want to see what. I'm not sure if you guys know. It's Kyle Korver. He was honest about it. Yeah. He was like, "Man, I black. I want to see what's going to come out of this series team. I think whoever's doing it with, to see his perspective, because I got into one of my close friends who it's kind of funny because I know we're going off topic, but kind of funny because the same reason Steph Curry is trying to look at his image of I want people to not think this way because it breaches what he's doing in the NBA. It's not breaching that. It's not taking away. Hey, you did great things. Where you have white privilege. People look at white privilege. Well, I didn't have privilege. I had to do this. I had to do that. It's not taking away you living from living in trailer parks or whatever you went through as a white person. It's not taking away what you did to work hard. It's just what happens in society as a black man. No matter what, we're looked at this way. We're not saying, oh, you didn't have it hard, and taking the credibility of how far you came. We're saying, hey, look, this is what we came, this is what we've been through. So if white people, talk about that, just elevate the black people so they can hear it from the black people.
Yeah. And I mean, my thing with again, we're kind of straying off topic, but we about to wrap it up in a second. My thing with that, when white people, I think the biggest thing, white people don't understand the term white privilege. We're not saying, okay, every white person has it good. We're saying that you have more opportunities, even though they sell it as America is the land of opportunity, everyone has their fair share. That is not necessarily always the case. You have the ability to move up possibly faster, just because of your skin color. You don't get harassed. You don't get looks. You have the freedom to kind of move as you want in a lot of things. You don't have to second and third guess. Well, outside of you trying to go to a hood or something like that you don't belong in. But outside of that, you really don't have to worry about your surroundings, really, like in a sense. Like you don't have to worry about, if I walk into the store with my hood on, are they going to follow me? Or if I walk into this store and I have on sweats, do they think I'm going to steal? It's like white privilege is the ability to just move freely and not have to really worry about anything. That's my definition of it. And they don't understand that. They just think, well, no, I grew up and, like you said, I came from a trailer park and this and that. I had to work hard. Nobody ever said you didn't have to work hard. It's just your struggle is your struggle, but as a whole, your people struggle are not my people struggle.
Right, 100%.
Yeah, to your point, like there's a whole miseducation around just the ideas of race in this country. We don't have one like accurate definition that everybody can talk to and about. It's like, my definition, and my definition. It's like, everybody got different definitions, so they can not talk to each other. You know what I'm saying? Or they cannot be talking about the same things. People think racism is just if somebody gets called the N-word, or if I do something intentionally and directly to somebody else, with the split, like who's of a different complexion. I mean, like when racism could be something as benign as like, oh man, I don't feel safe in this neighborhood. When you ain't got no reason to not feel safe, other than the fact that you think black people live here.
You got that preconceived notion that black people live here, and we're gonna come out and be like, "What you doing here, cracker?" And we're gonna shoot you. It's like a lot of racism comes from ignorance, for real. Pretty much all racism is ignorance in a sense. Yeah. Now I can say myself, like I have like that reverse. Well, I don't even think it would be reverse racism. It's more so like based off like.
Let's not say reverse racism.
Yeah, I know that's what I said. Never mind. Like if I'm in a predominantly white area and I'm shopping, I automatically feel like every eye's on me. Even in my own, I can go to Target right around the corner from my house, which is not a white area, and I'm still like, no. Like I returned something the other day. She was like, "Oh, you can just take the bag and walk back in the shit." I was like, "No, I do not feel comfortable taking this bag." But you can just, ma'am, could you please hold the bag up front? Because I automatically think that you're gonna follow me, you're gonna look at me, and it's just because that's just kind of how I feel about certain establishments and certain. Like, I just really feel like, you're gonna follow me around because I'm black. You may not. Like, you might not even bother me at all. But my ignorance on, well, not even ignorance, my experience a lot of times with those locations is kind of like, okay, well, I know you're going to follow me. I know you don't think I can afford this or that. Like, just because I'm in this area. But to, wrap things up, anybody else got anything to say about anything in the world?
Good. Man, get on Twitter. Twitter's wilding tonight. That's all.
Man, I don't know Twitter.
Oh, you don't have a Twitter?
No, man, I deleted my Twitter like right before graduation, man.
I get most of my instant news from Twitter.
Well, the podcast has a Twitter, actually.
Yeah, if you had to get rid of if you had to keep one social media platform, you could only keep one.
YouTube.
Is that considered social media?
Yeah, is
that more of a streaming destination?
Here's why I say YouTube, because we talk about analytics. We're supposed to get off. So Apple, I actually agree with Apple. Everybody knows I hate Apple products. I think they're user friendly for basic blah blah.
But the crazy thing about it, before you continue. Yeah. Apple and Nike are the same company. You just don't know it. But continue.
Here's the difference between Apple, and I'm not talking about Apple and Nike, but I would say what Apple did was this. Apple, of course I don't like their model, what they do, but what Apple does is that they said was this: they're going to ask users if they want their information to be shared. And on apps and whatnot. So companies can't use your information to put it elsewhere, throw an ad at you or something you clicked on in real time. Facebook makes a majority of their money. Facebook owns Instagram. Facebook owns WhatsApp, right? So the reason why WhatsApp is so good is because they're the only one that really, when you send a message out, all those apps, no one can see anything, completely encrypted. Facebook and Instagram, you have
too, but okay.
they have case managers on your app that can kind of see the content they really want to, but Facebook makes most of their money through advertising. So the real time analytics. Like I said, my students go work for these companies, and they're using R, Python, SQL to run algorithms that when you click something or say something, immediately when you pop up, it pops up. That's how fast it works. Instagram and Facebook are doing that. Instagram is really, and Facebook are really going to start dying off, I personally believe, because Instagram relies heavily, just like on Facebook, on ads. What YouTube is doing is this: YouTube is giving the platform back to people, and they're and with YouTube, there. If you look at how much YouTube you watch versus Instagram and Facebook, like Facebook, I go on to kind of somewhat connect with family, but people are being more private these days. You know, they're being more private what they share and what they do because they know Facebook's doing this. Instagram, people are looking at Instagram, they feel pressure, or they see, this. There's so much happening with Instagram when it comes to messing up people's lives. So YouTube is a platform where you can you can share your voice. They have stories, you can connect with people. And I would rather have YouTube because I learn more on YouTube to help me than I do on Facebook and Instagram. So if I had any app or any app or any social media platform to keep, I would keep YouTube, and because I'm learning on that platform.
Yeah. I learned from you about the camera lens a couple videos too. I was looking for
Oh yeah.
The nifty 50. The nifty 50.
If you're watching, hey, look, I'm a little plug here to my YouTube channel.
Yeah, you got it.
You guys are not watching, if you guys are watching, definitely subscribe to my YouTube. Look, I'm putting out some amazing content. I will be putting out more content. If you want to see something, let me know. But go subscribe. The name is subscribe Seth Travers. I don't care if you don't even watch a video. Just subscribe. Turn that post notification on. When that thing pops up, go to the video, like it. I don't care if you watch it. All right, so, putting out good content. So that's my shameless plug there. Seth Travers on YouTube.
Yeah, man. I was like, oh, okay. Let me go ahead and find that lens if I want to start taking pictures now, because I got the camera. I just don't take pictures. But
yeah.
So you keep Instagram?
Me? Oh yeah. If I had to pick, I keep Instagram for what is the word I want to use? I don't want to say facetious.
Entertainment.
Nefarious reasons. Yeah. Yeah. The explore page can kind of keep your mind wandering. But as what Seth was saying though, I actually spend more time on YouTube than I do with Instagram, because I'm rarely on Instagram. I don't think I personally post anything to my personal page in a long time. I be on the council page, kind of posting pictures and trying to promote there more than anything. But
hey, you be interacting, man.
But that council page got good content, man.
Appreciate it, man. I be trying to.
I be cracking up. My son even be on that council page.
He do, man.
He
do. But no, I would keep Instagram because I technically don't consider YouTube as social media. Technically.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't consider YouTube social media, but mine would be Twitter because like personal and then professional reasons for me. A lot of scientists are on Twitter, so it's easy for us to connect, touch bases, talk about stuff, know what's going on, and I can learn a whole field of scientists through like just following people on Twitter and be like,
if I want anything real time, I'm going to Twitter.
Yeah. Twitter's where it's at.
I guess we got to grow the Twitter page.
Y'all already know it'd be Reddit for me, man.
Yeah. Is that technically?
Oh, yeah.
Still don't. Don't you have to subscribe to be a part?
I gotta get hip to Reddit. I think there's a deep hole I can go on Reddit and explore. I gotta get hip to it.
Seth, you gotta have time.
It's definitely one of those. Yeah, it's definitely one of those platforms that has a learning curve. But I tell you, once you get adapted to it, I'm telling you, you'll be hooked.
For nefarious reasons and education.
Dude, nefarious reasons. Matter of fact, I got a buddy.
That's the title of the show, Nefarious.
I got a buddy of mine who he was actually, I don't know if it was for nefarious reasons or not. He was asking me, have you ever used a VPN? You know how to get a VPN? I said, yeah. Nah, not really. I mean, I know it's not hard to use a VPN, but I was like, what you can do is you can go to Reddit and go to the dark web subreddit, and I guarantee you, there's probably a step-by-step guide on how to get a VPN. You know what I'm saying? Because people have to use those to navigate through the dark web and such. So
yeah, they advertise that on YouTube every commercial.
What VPNs?
Nordic VPN. You can sign up. Hey, you want to watch YouTube? No, you want to watch Netflix from London, but you're in Virginia? I'm like, yo.
Yeah.
I know I don't like accents, no, but I get it.
I definitely need to get on that VPN.
For Netflix purposes. We're going to leave it at that.
Yeah, for the other end purposes. Other end.
Oh, so but we're gonna wrap it up. Q or Roy's not here. So anybody want to wrap it up? SP took a breath. It's on you.
Oh man. We thank y'all for listening. This is episode Noventa y Cuatro. So 94 for my non-Spanish listeners.
I appreciate that.
And continue to listen to the show. As we said, we got amazing content on IG, so definitely check out our IG page. Look at the story, hit us with them comments, cause we gotta rock on them algorithms. That's the thing popping in the streets, from what I've been told, is the comments. So leave a comment here or there. You see some great content. You see our videos. Check us out. Got the YouTube popping. Check my man Steph Trevor's out on YouTube. Subscribe, comment.
Hey, for real though, Seth actually has a video out about algorithms on Instagram.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, about 3 weeks ago, something
on Instagram.
Yeah, last week. Last week.
Dang,
yeah.
I'm definitely aging it. Yeah, about the
you're good.
About the multi-post and all that. If you notice we posted the multi-post with the jersey names, that was because of you.
That's what's up. Yeah. Hey, okay. Yeah, it's I appreciate that.
Hey man, he knows what he's talking about, man. He told us he works with analytics and he's talking about algorithms. So I wouldn't second guess it. But
facts.
Shout out to y'all. We out.
Peace.
All right. Peace.